As a passionate chocolate lover, I'm always on the lookout for decadent chocolate sweet treats. And I think I've found just the spot here at Chocolaterian Cafe.
Today, I'll be stopping by Chocolaterian Cafe, whose short and sweet slogan is everyday chocolate, but the experience is anything but short and everything sweet. With mostly word-of-mouth marketing, this local neighborhood cafe focuses on offering a prime setting for the person who wants to indulge in sweets, tasty food, or a cup of coffee.
You'll find everything from chocolate, toffee, and baked goods. Like the ugly cookie. Who cares what it's called? It's delicious.
We'll find out the story behind this large, tasty cookie and how it got its name later. With an extravagant menu, also with vegetarian options, Chocolaterian specializes in chocolate fondue, a variety of quiche, homemade soups, panini sandwiches, and a large assortment of chocolate and other fresh from the oven desserts. Offerings of wine tastings, musical guests, and special events like building gingerbread houses, this kid-friendly and engaging homegrown cafe is the perfect destination for fun and relaxation. A little later on, I'll be speaking with co-founder Leanne Cordusco while Leanne makes one of Chocolaterian's signature desserts, the lip-smacking Carmel Cashew Tart, topped with a smooth, lustrous caramel glaze, extra silky ganache, garnished with buttery toffee and crunchy cashews. I'll be doing some taste tests, and if eating chocolate wasn't enough, I'll be washing everything down with a deliciously rich and warm Parisian hot chocolate.
Oh, it's chocolatey, it's velvety, it's thick and creamy.
Chocolaterian provides a warm atmosphere for family and friends to come together and enjoy a relaxing snack, meal, or dessert. The cafe is located on Madison's east side on the historic Shank-Atwood neighborhood on Shank's Corners. This laid-back neighborhood is spotted with local restaurants and businesses and is quickly being revived into a refreshing destination spot.
I understand you're in a historical neighborhood, right?
Absolutely. Shank's Corners is one of the oldest neighborhoods in Madison. The Shank family and the Hegel family from the Shank-Hegel business that used to occupy the space have come here to visit since we've taken over.
The architectural features in the space are beautiful. And what about the display windows? Are those original?
Yeah, so what's unusual about the space is that we have two front doors, and both front doors have two display windows on either side of them. So we've got 4 original display windows to work with. This storefront dates back earlier as a department store. It was a grocery store. Most recently, for the last few decades, it was a uniform shop for firefighters and police and EMS workers. And what we did when we got the space is kept it as original as possible.
The beautiful space not only has its original architectural features, it also showcases a rare 3,000-pound safe.
During the restoration work that we did in the property when we took over this place, we found some gorgeous leaded glass doors with arched tops on them. What we're seeing in the storefront is what people were seeing 50 years ago.
And the same thing with the interior displays here, that you have your confections and your candy, and these are all originals as well?
Absolutely. Some signage on the inside, dating them back to the 20s. We just tried to keep them intact. We put a lot of oil on them to bring back a lot of that natural finish. but it would be a shame to get rid of something so beautiful that's lasted, almost 100 years.
Oh yeah, it works perfectly with the interior.
We turned some of our old display merchandisers into booth seating, which is fun. Some of them we have our wine on, some we have our chocolate on, so it works really well for us. And customers who come in here, when they used to shop here as kids back in the 30s and 40s, elderly now, they'll say, oh, I remember when I used to buy shoes off of this display rack, or I remember when I used to pick my pants up off of this display rack when I was trying them on.
Wow.
And so now they come over and they get a pound of coffee and some toffee rather than shoes and pants.
The products are unique to the market, and they're made from scratch with local ingredients. Food served at the cafe is rich in flavor as well as quality.
Made, fluffed up with cream, very light. Had some ham and blue cheese in it. It was just sumptuous, just amazing.
A variety of events are offered at different times throughout the year, and it's a great place to bring the entire family. Events such as how to make holiday candy are offered. Or, ever wanted to make a gingerbread house without having to clean up the mess? This is the perfect place that offers just the solution. Grab a blank slate and get to creating your dream gingerbread house. Here, kids are in a heavenly bliss where they're free to choose whatever candy they wish. From M&Ms, gummy bears, how about some chocolate? Hey, let's not forget the marshmallows, and an assortment of other sugary pleasures to make their very own unique creations finished to a sweet, indulgent perfection. Chocolaterian is a homegrown business with friendly staff and is an integral part of the neighborhood with its irresistible desserts made from scratch.
We've gotten so much great feedback from the people in the neighborhood saying that this is a part of the community again, that the storefront had gone really unused for a long time, and they feel like they're exploring it for the first time in decades, and we're happy to have them here.
And that's your focus. You want to make this a community establishment, and you also have one more satellite location, right?
Absolutely. So we've got a second location inside the Madison Public Library downtown on Mifflin Street. The City of Madison did an extraordinary job. They've turned it from a building that houses books into a community and art center that has media and multimedia and books in it. And for us to be able to offer people coffee and hot chocolate and lunch and desserts inside a library is a really big step for a city this size, and we're just happy to do it.
So you have an extensive menu there too. Then you serve your chocolate goods there.
Yep, you can get our Parisian hot chocolate, our ugly cookie. You can get our signature quiche there, and what's nice is that you can take it anywhere in the library because there's so many public spaces with gorgeous views in the library, and so you can sit down and have a cup of Parisian hot chocolate and read the New York Times and overlook the Capitol, and it's a wonderful thing.
Beautiful.
After all this talk about desserts, I stepped into the kitchen to see just how one of the house specialties is made. But first, I wanted to know, how does someone get into the candy business?
Leanne, what made you want to get involved in the candy business?
Well, it's a funny story. I was on vacation in Italy, driving from vineyard to vineyard and olive grove to olive grove, and I actually came up with an idea for a wine accessory and started looking for angel investors to help me get this project off the ground. And I ran into an old college professor of mine. I said, do you happen to know any angel investors? He says, yes, I'm meeting with one on Friday. Would you like to join me? And I said, sure. And I asked who it was. He said, Sam Jacobson. I said, that sounds great. Who's Sam Jacobson? And I didn't know that Sam had founded and owned the entire PDQ convenience store chain. So I'm sitting one-on-one with Sam Jacobson. And then he said he had been looking for years for somebody to start a candy company with. And he said, I think you're that person. Would you like to start a business with me?
Oh my God, that's
so
amazing.
That's how it began.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So I said yes. And so I walked into a meeting thinking I was going to try to start a wine accessory business. I walked out of the meeting owning half of the candy company, and I'd never made candy before in my life.
Great. Well,
So-
we love your desserts.
Well, wonderful. Thank you.
Not knowing anything about the candy making business, how did you learn about all of that?
Pretty much self-taught. My business partner and I are both foodies. My business partner loves to bake. I love to cook. And here we are, about 4.5 years later, at Chocolaterian Cafe.
And we are going to make a special dessert, one of your specialties here.
Absolutely.
What exactly are we making
We are
today?
going to make a Carmel Cashew Tart. And it begins with a shortbread tart shell, which we've already made and then cooled down. Everything is made by scratch here. And this we're going to fill with a number of wonderful, delicious things. The first thing we're going to do is a layer of coffee buttercream, a very thin layer at the bottom that I will spread out. Okay. And then this will get refrigerated because after we get this nice and level, I want to cover it with a warm caramel so that that also makes a nice even layer. This needs about 10 minutes in the fridge so that this coffee buttercream can get hard so that we can cover it with the melted caramel.
So now we've waited 10 minutes and the pastry shell is nice and chilled.
Pastry shell is chilled. More importantly, the coffee buttercream is chilled, so it won't melt when we pour our warmed salted caramel over it. And we use warmed caramel so we get a nice even layer. And here we go. Just want a little bit. Want to fill in all the cracks. This is the easiest way to do it. We've tried a million different ways, and that's the second layer.
So what are we doing here?
So this is ganache, which is a French word for chocolate with dairy, chocolate with heavy cream. Ganache is also the soft middle of a truffle, and it's a ratio of dark chocolate and, in this case, heavy cream. And I'm just going to melt it so that we can pour it onto our Carmel Cashew Tart. The next thing we're going to do is cover this with our warmed chocolate ganache. The same thinking applies here. We want this nice and warm, so that's going to give us a nice even layer on top. This is all about presentation. So the ganache wants to be shiny and thick and very, very smooth. So we're just going to pour it right over. Fill in all the cracks, fill in all the holes. Fill it right up to the top without going over.
Beautiful.
And so that shine, that sheen that you see across the top will stay. That's one of the nice things about working with this ganache, is that it's just got this gorgeous gloss to it. It's nice and soft on your palate. The caramel is nice and soft on your palate. We're going to put some crunchy things on here now just to give you a little contrast. We like to do things with contrast at Chocolaterian. Sweet and salty, crunchy and soft, because it's just more interesting to eat. So we're going to finish this with some toffee and some cashews. Okay. You might not have this much toffee at home. We do. A couple of pieces of toffee in the middle. And then some cashews around the outside. Cashews and toffee add a little bit of salt, a little bit of crunch. Goes wonderfully well with the flavor of the coffee and the salted caramel and the chocolate. And that is Chocolaterian's signature Carmel Cashew Tart.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. Wait till you try it.
I cannot wait. So how long do I have to wait? Do we have to put it back in the refrigerator?
Typically we wouldn't refrigerate it now, but we would wait for the ganache to chill down a little bit because everything's nice and warm. But luckily, I've got another one for you to try.
I can't wait to eat it. Unfortunately, I'll have to wait just a little longer. First, I wanted to find out more about the Emmy swag bags.
And your chocolates and toffees were popular with the Emmy crowd not too long ago. How did that happen?
Well, it's funny because the Emmys found us, which is very unusual. Companies fight to get their products into the Emmys bags, into the Oscars bags. And what happened is a few years ago, a company was Googling bacon candy on the internet. They wanted to give away interesting presents to their clients out in California. And they bought 300 bacon toffee bars from me, and they gave it away to all their clients. One of the clients that got that candy was a producer for the Emmys. And they called us and said, "We love this bacon candy. Do you have anything else?" And so I sent them samples of our entire product line. And they called back about 2 weeks later and they said, "We would love to have you in the Emmys celebrity gift bags." And I said, "Okay." And spent 5 days in Hollywood. That event, being in the Emmys, gave us kind of a national exposure, allowed us to take our business national. And that expansion in our wholesale candy business for Christine's Toffees is what allowed us to actually build Chocolaterian. So I owe the Emmys a lot.
So what exactly was in the swag bags?
The swag bags had our butter toffee, our cashew toffee, pistachio, of course, the bacon toffee. It also had our chocolate toffee bites, and they loved it all.
Which one of them is the most popular?
It depends. With Indianapolis, we sell more bacon toffee in Indianapolis than we sell anywhere else, which is kind of interesting. Here in the shop, we sell more butter toffee than anywhere else. In other parts of Madison, we sell more sea salt caramels. So there seems to be pockets of interest in different places. But overall, I'd have to say that the thing that we sell the most of is our first product, which is the butter toffee with the sea salt on it and the Belgian dark chocolate.
Has anybody come to Chocolaterian Cafe?
They have not.
Not yet.
Not
well,
yet.
Well, they will soon,
I hope
hopefully.
so.
Next, we finally sit down to get a taste of these scrumptious desserts.
So look at the spread. And this is your famous Parisian hot chocolate.
It is. The thing that makes it Parisian is the ratio of chocolate to dairy. So American style hot chocolate is, 70 or 80% dairy and then 20% chocolate. We flip that and it's 80% chocolate and 20% dairy. We exclusively use Sassy Cow dairy here, heavy cream and milk, so it's local. We combine that with the Belgian dark chocolate, Calibo, which is just a stunning chocolate to work with. And what we end up with is this Parisian style hot chocolate that's got this gorgeous warm mouthfeel. It's like drinking a truffle, and that's another thing that we can never take off of the menu.
What could be better? Well, let's dig in.
Please do.
Oh my God. It's gorgeous. It's thick, it's velvety, it's very chocolatey, nice and warm. You're right. It's like drinking a truffle.
And what's funny is that the first thing that you said is what 80% of the people who try it for the first time, oh my God.
Oh my God.
We've gotten marriage proposals, we've gotten death threats, we've gotten a lot of oh my Gods. Oh, I'd kill you, I think that's it.
It's addicting.
It is, and as candy makers, that's what we look for in reaction. If somebody says, oh my God, or if we get a marriage proposal or a death threat, then we know that we're doing something right. If it elicits that kind of emotion. And good food should. Good candy should, good cooking should. It should be emotional. That's what we go for.
This is all you need. Actually, it's like a little bit larger than a shot glass.
It's 4 ounces, and it's the perfect size.
Very filling.
This ugly cookie has an interesting history behind it.
And this is the famous ugly cookie.
The famous ugly cookie.
And it's huge. It tastes delicious. Why is it called, well, I was going to say, why is it called the ugly cookie? I can see why, but what's the story behind that?
So the story is, this is truly a community cookie. We went through 6 or 7 different versions of a signature cookie before we came up with this. We knew that we wanted to have a signature chocolate chip cookie because you can't bake with chocolate and not have a good chocolate chip cookie. But since we're also a candy shop and we have caramels and toffees, we wanted to have the toffee be a part of our chocolate chip cookie. With nuts, without nuts, and we wanted something that was going to, again, have that kind of balance that we talked about earlier between sweet and savory, crunchy and chewy. And we came up with this chocolate chip cookie with our toffee in it. It's also got pistachios, cocoa nibs, and oats. Now, this cookie takes over 24 hours to make, and it's actually worth the wait. And so you get everything that you can imagine in a cookie. The toffee is kind of chewy, the nuts are a little bit crunchy, the cocoa nibs add a little bit of depth, and it's quickly becoming a favorite thing that we have on the menu in the cafe here. And if we were ever to take this off the menu, I think people
You'd
would
have some
revolt.
retaliation.
I think you would.
And now, for the ugly cookie,
The ugly cookie.
but delicious. So, we're going to split this, Leanne. Here, you grab half of it, and... Oh, I got the bigger piece. I see how that works.
I did that by design.
Okay. Right. So, I taste the toffee, the chocolate, and the pistachio. So, no caramels in this, though.
No caramel.
You've chosen to go with pistachios this time.
We wanted pistachios because when we tried it with cashews, the cashew got lost. The cashew has a very subtle buttery flavor, and it didn't stand up to the rest of the cookie. So we went with a pistachio, which has a more pronounced flavor, more distinctive, and it really adds something to this cookie that I haven't seen anywhere else. So we try to use pistachios in kind of of unexpected ways is one of my favorite things to cook with. So having a pistachio and a chocolate chip cookie, I think, separates us from just about everybody else. It's 24 hours, but it's worth it.
I just can't seem to get enough of this cookie.
It's really good.
Thank you. It's a good cookie.
It's a good cookie.
Yep, it's definitely worth it, but I can't be eating ugly cookies all day. I'm moving on to the next dessert on the menu, the show-stopping Carmel Cashew Tart.
So this is the finished tart that we were making earlier.
Carmel Cashew Tart.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let's dig into the tart.
All right.
Okay. Here. No, you
okay.
too. Okay.
So what
Oh,
you're
it's
gonna
great. It's
See, nice
Yeah.
and gooey. The caramel is nice and soft. The ganache is nice and soft, but you're going to have the crunchiness in the toffee and the crunchiness in the cashew. And I'll talk about it as you eat it, because once you put that in your mouth, it's going to be difficult to talk easily.
There's going to be another oh my god coming, and there it is. You guys have got to come down and try it. Okay, so
Creamy, a little salty, a little crunchy. You get this wonderful dark chocolate flavor. This is a caramel that we make here just for these tarts. We cook it so that it's a little bit looser, a little bit softer, so that it just kind of falls off of the fork a little bit, and it just fills your mouth with that wonderful buttery flavor that you can only get from Wisconsin butter. We only exclusively use Wisconsin butter in our products, which we think that makes us kind of special. I'm gonna have a bite myself.
yeah, go for it. There's a perfect ratio of the caramel and the crust with the chocolate.
You get a little bit of coffee, that creamy layer at the bottom. There's just a hint of coffee flavor that plays against the chocolate pretty nicely.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Being a avid chocolate lover, I think this is the place for me. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
As I say goodbye to my newfound happy place, I'm full of chocolatey goodness, and I've had a lusciously sweet time at Chocolaterian Cafe. Until next time, keep on exploring.
This is great. That's some coffee. We're gonna use this for outtakes. So, caramel.